On the night of February 9, 2004, a young nursing student named Maura Murray vanished on a lonely stretch of rural highway in New Hampshire. Her car was found crashed into a snowbank, the airbags deployed, the windshield cracked. But Maura herself was gone. She had disappeared into the cold winter night without a trace. Nearly 2 decades later, her case remains one of the most baffling mysteries in modern America. It has been dissected by police, journalists, armchair sleuths, and entire online communities. Yet the central question still has no answer. What happened to Maura Murray? Her disappearance has been called the first mystery of the social media age. It is a story that blends tragedy, secrecy, and endless speculation. And like all enduring mysteries, it leaves us haunted not only by the facts we know, but by the possibilities we don't. Maura's life before she vanished. Maura was born on May 4, 1982, in Hanson, Massachusetts. She was the fourth of 5 children in a large Irish Catholic family. Her father, Fred Murray, was known as hard-working and devoted, though strict. Her mother, Lori, struggled with health problems and eventually divorced Fred, leaving Maura and her siblings to navigate a childhood split between parents. Maura was exceptionally bright. She excelled academically and athletically. In high school, she was a star runner on the track team, winning championships and attracting attention from colleges. She was also known for her quiet, disciplined nature. After graduation, Maura attended the prestigious United States Military Academy at West Point. There she studied chemical engineering and trained in rigorous military discipline. But West Point wasn't the right fit. After 2 years, she transferred to the University of Massachusetts Amherst to study nursing. Friends described her as determined, but sometimes secretive. A young woman with ambition, but also with struggles. By 2004, Maura was a 21-year-old nursing student in her junior year. She had a boyfriend, Bill Rausch, who was stationed in Oklahoma with the Army. Their relationship was long-distance, complicated, and, as later events would suggest, strained. On the surface, Maura's life seemed promising. But beneath that, there were cracks. Personal problems, family stress, and academic pressures that weighed on her heavily. The days leading up to the disappearance. The timeline of Maura's final days is critical to understanding the mystery. On Thursday, February 9, 2004, Maura was working her evening shift at the campus security desk. Around 10:30 p.m., she received a phone call that left her in tears. Her supervisor later described her as completely zoned out, crying and almost unresponsive. When asked what was wrong, Maura said, "My sister." Later, it was revealed that the call was actually from her sister Kathleen, who had been upset about personal problems. Still, Maura's emotional reaction seemed unusually intense. 2 days later, on Saturday, February 7th, Maura's father, Fred, visited her in Amherst. They went car shopping, looking for a new vehicle because Maura's old Saturn sedan was unreliable. That evening, Maura borrowed her father's new Toyota Corolla to attend a dorm party. On the way home, around 3 a.m., she crashed the car into a guardrail. The damage was significant, but no one was injured. Police filed a report, and Fred's insurance company was notified. The next day, Fred and Maura spoke on the phone multiple times. He reassured her that insurance would cover the accident, but witnesses later said Maura seemed unusually distraught about the crash, far more upset than most people would be. On Monday, February 9th, Maura began making a series of puzzling preparations. She emailed her professors, telling them she would be out of town for a week because of a death in the family. But no one in her family had died. She made several phone calls inquiring about renting condos in New Hampshire and Vermont, areas she knew from family vacations. Around noon, she withdrew $280 in cash at an ATM. Later, that afternoon, she stopped at a liquor store and purchased about $40 worth of alcohol, including wine and Bailey's Irish Cream. Then she packed her car with some clothes, toothpastes, textbooks, and the alcohol. She left Amherst around 5:30 p.m., heading north towards New Hampshire. No one knew exactly where she was going or why. The crash on Route 112. On about 7:30 p.m. on February 9th, a resident of Haverhill, New Hampshire, heard a loud thump outside her house. Looking out the window, she saw a car stuck in a snowbank on Route 112, also known as the Wild Ammonoosuc Road. The vehicle was a black 1996 Saturn sedan, Maura's car. Its front end was smashed, and the airbags had deployed. The neighbor called the police. Another neighbor, a school bus driver, stopped at the scene and spoke with Maura. She assured him she was fine and had already called AAA for roadside assistance. But this was a lie. Cell service in that area was spotty, and no record of a call to AAA was ever found. By the time police arrived at 7:46 p.m., Maura was gone. The car was locked. Inside, officers found the items she had packed, including clothes, maps, and the alcohol. The cash she had withdrawn earlier was missing, but her debit card and credit cards were left behind. The only items unaccounted for were the alcohol she had purchased and possibly her cell phone. Search dogs tracked her scent for about 100 yards east of the crash site, then lost it. It was as though she had stepped off the road and vanished into the woods, or perhaps into another vehicle. The immediate search. Police launched a search that night, but the effort was limited. The area was rural, dark, and freezing cold, with snow piled high along the roads. Helicopters, dogs, and volunteers scoured the woods in the days that followed. No trace of Maura was found. Fred Murray, devastated, insisted that his daughter had been abducted. Police initially treated the case as a missing person, not a crime. They suggested Maura may have wanted to disappear voluntarily, to escape school, her relationship, or family pressures. But those who knew her best doubted she would simply walk away from her life. Theories. The case of Maura Murray has spawned countless theories. Let's explore the most prominent. 1. Voluntary disappearance. Some believe Maura staged her own disappearance. Her lies to professors about a family death, her withdrawal of cash, and her decision to drive to New Hampshire without telling anyone all suggest premeditation. Perhaps she wanted to start over, away from school, her relationship, and her family. But if so, why crash her car? And how could she have survived alone in the freezing woods without leaving a trace? 2. Suicide. Others think Maura may have been suicidal. She was under stress from school, her recent car accidents, and possible relationship troubles. The alcohol in her car may point to self-destructive intent, but again, no body was ever found, and extensive searches turned up nothing. 3. Foul play. This is the theory most commonly believed by her family. Perhaps Maura accepted a ride from a stranger after her crash, only to meet a predator. Route 112 was remote, but not entirely deserted. Truckers, locals, and travelers passed through regularly. In the wrong hands, Maura may have become a victim of violence. 4. Accident in the wilderness. Another possibility is that Maura left the road on foot, disoriented, and succumbed to the cold in the woods. New Hampshire winters are brutally unforgiving, but again, no remains were ever found, despite years of searching. 5. Family secrets. Some speculate that family issues may have played a role. Maura's relationship with her father was complicated, and her relationship with her boyfriend was strained. Did she intend to escape both, or did someone close to her know more than they admitted? The online obsession. What sets Maura's case apart from many other disappearances is the role of the internet. In the years following 2004, her story spread across online forums, blogs, and eventually social media.
Thousands of people became armchair detectives, analyzing every detail of her timeline. Entire communities dedicated themselves to the case. Podcasts, documentaries, and YouTube channels explored every angle. Her story became a kind of digital folklore, with theories multiplying endlessly. Some compared the obsession with her case to the enduring fascination with Amelia Earhart. This massive online attention kept Maura's story alive, but also complicated the investigation. Rumors mixed with facts. False leads spread quickly. Her family sometimes felt overwhelmed by the sheer amount of speculation. In recent years, the case has been revisited with fresh eyes, but no definitive evidence has been uncovered. Why Maura's case endures? The disappearance of Maura Murray endures because it sits at the intersection of so many haunting possibilities. Did she run away? Was she abducted? Did she meet with an accident? Each theory feels plausible, yet none fully explains the facts. Her case also resonates because Maura was in many ways an ordinary young woman, ambitious, struggling, hopeful, and flawed. Her sudden vanishing feels like it could happen to anyone. That universality makes her story both terrifying and unforgettable. Conclusion. On a cold February night in 2004, Maura Murray crashed her car on a lonely New Hampshire road. In the minutes that followed, she disappeared forever. Nearly 20 years later, we are left with questions, but no answers. What happened to her after she walked away from that car? Was she trying to escape her life, or was her life taken from her? Did she find freedom, or did she find tragedy? Until the truth is uncovered, Maura remains suspended between theories, between hope and despair, between presence and absence. Her story reminds us that even in an age of technology, people can still vanish without a trace, and when they do, the mystery left behind can consume us, pulling us deeper and deeper into the unknown.